Our presentation is on the Brainstem and second language learning. What is the theoretical framework? The article we chose for our presentation is called Earlier Age of Second Language Learning Induces More Robust Speech Encoding in the Auditory Brainstem in Adults, Independent of Amount of Language Exposure During Early Childhood. In this study, the authors compared 3 groups of adults who were bilingual in English and French. Each of these adults acquired their second language at a different age. This was done to see if the age at which someone learns a second language affects the functional neuroplasticity in the auditory brainstem while they are processing their second language. What are the study's research questions and hypothesis? The research question asks if the age at which a second language is acquired affects how well the person can encode the second language. The researchers hypothesized that the younger a person is when they learn a second language, the stronger the neuroplasticity in their brainstem will be, and the better their ability to encode their second language will be. What experimental methods were used? Behavioral task. The participants were presented with vowel sounds and had to indicate what vowel sound they were listening to. Auditory brainstem response recording. The participants listened to frequency following responses of the vowels while they had electrodes placed on their heads and necks to record their brainstem responses, and statistical analysis. The brainstem responses and reaction time for the behavioral task were analyzed.
What did the authors find, and was the hypothesis supported? The authors found that the larger FFR amplitudes invoked by the fundamental frequency of the English vowels in simultaneous bilinguals positively compared to participants whose first language was French. This supports the hypothesis that earlier AOA leads to stronger neuroplasticity in the auditory brainstem and improved perception in early acquired language. The author's finding also showed that during the brainstem invoked responses, there was not a difference between participants who were simultaneous bilinguals and those that spoke English as their first language, which did not support the hypothesis that more extensive language exposure in early childhood leads to more robust processing of that language in adulthood. What do the author's findings mean? The findings of this article ultimately mean that an introduction to language during the first years of life leads to stronger perceptual abilities as well as better encoding of language-specific phonetic contrast until at least young adulthood. The findings also show that the amount of exposure to language does not lead to differences in the stability of the encoding. So in other words, participants did not need more exposure to a language in order to have the same level of ability when it came to encoding. Real-world implications. The research results of this article suggest that in order for robust and automatic bottom-up encoding in the brainstem, it is important for exposure of that language to happen within the phonetic sensitive period. A real-world implication is that when introducing languages or several languages, it is more beneficial to do it when the individual is young and still within the phonetic sensitive period rather than later in life. Questions. How can the results of this study be helpful in a treatment or therapy setting for individuals who have a language disorder? And could the research methods in this study, such as recording brainstem responses, be used in a therapy or treatment setting? And then this is our reference slide.